LGBTQ+.
What is love?
So you see someone and you like them, you just really like each other and love each other.
Pride to me is about all of those who have fought and rallied for the rights that I have today.
Lloyd, I hope you have a wonderful Pride and always, always, always keep dancing.
When we celebrate Pride, what is it that we celebrate?
Families being families. Yeah, families being families.
Families where you can just be yourself, no matter what. You can tell them whatever you need to tell them. They're going to be there no matter what.
Those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter, and be you, right? We're brighter together. Welcome to Pride, You Belong Here. Kelly, how are you doing today?
I am doing fabulous.
It's a fabulous time to be in Alberta. We are opening up right now. We have the opportunity as artists to be performing. How excited are you to be performing again?
Oh, so excited. It's been a long time. I miss the stage and the lights.
Don't we all miss the stage and lights? What is Pride? Are you a member of the Pride community? Are you an ally to the Pride community? These are a few questions we're going to have answered as we interview guests from across our fabulous country, Canada. With my co-host, Kelly Electrics.
Hello. I am a local drag artist here in Red Deer, Alberta, and a member of the Central Alberta Pride Board.
And I'm Curtis LaBelle, your fabulous and favorite talk show host and Canadian pianist. A few questions we'd like to have answered from our community is, what is Pride? Are you an ally? Are you a supporter? Are you a member of the community? Let's tune in to our first guest from Fort McMurray. Erica, how are you doing today?
Good, yourself?
Fabulous. Quick question for you. You identify as queer in your community, but sometimes feel that you're not queer enough. What does that mean? What is that like? And take us a little journey to explain that more for us.
Well, I think we all have insecurities. For me, it's checking my privilege as well, being a straight passing and cis passing, married to a man. People could easily identify me as straight. So getting a chance to talk about, falling somewhere in the middle myself, it's not so black and white. I'm kind of that gray area. It can be a little scary, but it also is exciting when you talk to other people who go, hey, I feel the same way as you do. And I feel like if more people talked about it, then I think more people would realize, again, that it's not this side or that side. Like there's a lot of people that are somewhere in the middle and it's all on a spectrum.
How important is it to you to have an identity?
I believe it's important because there's a lot of people out there that may not be in the situation where they can talk about their identity. So I don't want to say trailblazer, but I've had a few incidences doing shows where someone feels like they might be comfortable around me to say something rude or intolerant, and then they get an earful. So I always feel good when I have an opportunity to say, like, no, that's not how it is, or your hate won't be tolerated, and getting to stand up for those who feel they can't stand up for themselves.
So would it be safe to say that you are not an influencer, but you are you set an example to ensure that the community stays together and keeps that education alive and prominent, to make sure that other individuals are able to express themselves and find an identity. Is that correct?
Oh, 100%. Also, I find, you don't know who you know who's queer, right? Just because someone's not talking about their sexual preferences doesn't mean they don't identify as queer. So, sometimes people might say a dismissive comment, not realizing that I'll be like, well, actually, I am queer. And they're like, oh, and I think it just puts in perspective that you could be talking to anybody.
Right, and we've labeled LGBTQ2+ on the spectrum, but it's quite large. And I know Kelly and I have been talking about the importance of community and our local community here. And of course, we're bringing everybody from across the country. What are your thoughts on community and what you have for Erica?
Yeah, I think it's so important for everybody to feel respected and seen. So what's the community like in Fort Mac?
I find the community here surprisingly amazing. I know Fort Mac can have, there's some bad stereotypes of it being a bit of a rough town, but I've felt extremely supported. Getting into drag and stuff, the minute I was like, hey, I want to try this, the drag scene here, we're like, yes, we'd love you to, come on out. I plan events. The minute I put drag on the roster for happening at an event, it's sold out. Like, I feel people are very hungry here for that diversity and for that entertainment. And, you know, we've had a few hiccups, but it's nothing I've seen as being a strictly Fort McMurray problem, and nothing that we can't overcome at the next event.
We're seriously supportive here in our community, you being in the entertainment business as well. I know I'm excited to get up to Fort McMurray and see what's been going on down there, right?
Yeah, sounds fabulous.
That's what's nice about the Pride community in a whole. We're all one big happy family. We all belong here. You belong here. We are brighter together, right?
We are.
And maybe we'll see each other sooner than later as we can start traveling now and getting things going. Thank you so much, Erica. And girl, I can't wait to get up there to Fort Mac. I haven't been there in a long time. And I can certainly say this from Kelly and myself here with Shaw and in our community in Red Deer. Thank you for being our guest, and we are going to enjoy experiencing anything and everything from the Pride community in Fort McMurray.
Thank you so much.
Have a fabulous day.
In 1979, Montreal and Vancouver became the first Canadian cities to host an official Pride March and festival.
Hi everybody, welcome back. We're going to head on over to Medicine Hat for our next guest, Kaylee. Hi Kaylee, how are you doing?
I'm lovely. How are you?
I'm great, thank you so much. This is my lovely co-host, Kelly here. You are in Medicine Hat and we are going across the lovely country and we're discussing different topics in the Pride community and how important Pride community is as a team and as family. Can you tell us the important values, in your opinion, about family as we're born into and in the importance of our extended family that we may choose to be with?
For me, like the family I'm born into reminds me of where I come from, whereas the family I kind of choose more or less a reflection of who I am now and who I've grown into and are really my support system right now because they understand me the best, I guess.
What about the community that you've chosen to be a part of and how are they supporting you and what's family mean to you externally?
Family is where you can just be yourself, no matter what. You can tell them whatever you need to tell them. They're going to be there no matter what. For me, that's most important is the people who I can trust to be myself around.
Tell us, Kaylee, how you identify yourself in the Pride community.
I identify as non-binary. I don't really feel attached to a specific gender. Sometimes I do feel more feminine. Sometimes I feel more masculine. I think when I was younger, I definitely related a lot more to the masculine side of myself. I was in a lot of sports and was often mistaken as a boy, but I never ever felt offended by that at that point in my life and almost felt really comfortable with it. But then as I got older and started to grow a little bit, I was like, oh, well, I kind of do like this feminine thing a little bit and started to get used to that a little bit. So now I'm really fluid, I guess, and really appreciate they and them and just non-binary.
I think that's becoming a more common thing. I know Kelly and I were talking about that earlier, being like, you know, I'm allowed to feel gay one day, associate being as a woman, especially as a drag queen and as an entertainer. What are your thoughts on that, Kelly?
Yeah, it's important to feel your own identity and really allow yourself that freedom to express who you are, how you feel inside. Even if that changes every day, if that changes next week, that's okay. And it's super important to have people around you who respect that.
I think, and that's what you're saying, Kaylee, and it's really nice. What's the community like in Medicine Hat as a whole?
I guess it kind of depends. We do have a very divided city, I find, when it comes to a lot of different things. Overall, I'm finding that the Pride Association of Southeast Alberta is getting a lot of support, and the community is really showing us a lot of support in a lot of different ways this year, coming forward and doing that. We do have, obviously, the people who like to yell things out the windows or just purposely try to misgender people and make them feel uncomfortable. So I guess we have both extremes, but I do feel that there's a lot of progress being made, especially in the last couple of years. And I know I definitely feel a lot safer here recently than I did, I guess, when I was a teenager.
I think that's because if we can raise awareness and we can remind people that we have the right to choose our family at the end of the day, and we are educating both sides of the spectrum on all fronts in order to accept, not judge, and come together as a family, support as a family, and as they say, family is love and love is family. Do you have anything else, Kelly, for Kaylee at this moment?
I'm so happy for you that you have a good a supportive family, whether they are a relation or in the community. That's really great to hear.
We have come a long way since the first time that Canada has allowed gay marriage, a same-sex marriage for that being, and the acceptance on all fronts, and even seeing people come out and supporting events such as Pride, specific events as drag queen performances, other entertainment, and all of that above. And we look forward to coming to Medicine Hat and seeing what you guys have up your sleeve for the next Pride events. Thank you for joining us today. We love you, we support you, and we support Medicine Hat. And thank you for being a part of this production and taking Canada to a whole new level of support.
Thank you.
Cheers.
1988, British Columbia MP Sven Robinson came out as Canada's first openly gay member of Parliament.
All right, folks, let's head on over to Thunder Bay, Ontario, to our guest, Aiden. Aiden, how are you doing today?
Doing really well. How are you guys?
We are fabulous. This is my amazing co-host, Kelly.
Hello.
Oh, Thunder Bay, I've never been there, but tell us a little bit about the Pride community there and your involvement in it.
The Thunder Bay has actually grown quite a lot over the last 10 plus years when it comes to Pride. Our Thunder Pride group, which is a grassroots organization that was started, I think 11 years ago now, that has flourished and has created events and community space. As well as we have another new group that just recently started that does more education-based learning, so offering workshops and services to different businesses and organizations. My role in all of that is, as a queer trans man, that I've probably spent the last 10 years back in Thunder Bay, working really hard at making it a safer place for trans folks, people who identify as, either binary and non-binary, trans-masculine, trans-feminine, all along the spectrum. So, I've spent a lot of time trying to create space and room for those groups of people, and so that's where most of my work is.
And the Thunder Bay community is growing exponentially with the support and love from family, close family, extended family, that it's now at a point in society where the pronouns are becoming more evident and important. First of all, for those who are watching who are confused with what a pronoun is, can you tell us quickly what a pronoun is?
Yeah, pronouns are what we use to help identify people when we don't say their name, but they're also just ways that we address each other. And so my pronouns are he, him. As a trans man, my pronouns before that used to be she, her. And then after my transition, I would consider myself a binary trans man. Pronouns are super important. We use them all the time. We use them without even thinking about it. And we also socially just make assumptions based on how we see people. And so that's why pronouns are really important, because the way that someone looks doesn't necessarily project what their pronouns would be. And so a little part that I've done at my work, I got some pronoun buttons made. It is Pride Month after all. And so part of our initiative here was to do something for the community and for our clients that I work with. And so, yeah, I made, got these awesome buttons made for our pronouns that go on our lanyards. So just one of those ways of having a conversation without having an awkward one about pronouns.
We're gonna have to get some of those lovely buttons sent up to our neck of the woods here, so we can make sure that we continue to spread the knowledge and make sure. Kelly, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
Yes. I'm curious to know, when are pronouns? When are they needed?
Yeah, well, I think that's a really good question, because I think that any interaction that you have in the community, whether it's just passing in the street or if it's someone you're, buying local goods from, we always, like I said, we use those pronouns without even thinking about it. And so a lot of the messaging that I try to do, whether it's at work or it's in my business doing workshops about pronouns and about gender and sexuality, it's always about just asking a simple question of, and maybe introducing yourself and saying, these are my pronouns and what are yours. And some people might not understand necessarily why you're asking, but I think it's really important that anytime that you're dealing with community members or you're working in the public, to just be aware that people have different pronouns than they might otherwise appear to be.
Now, is it safe to say, Aiden, that pronouns are becoming more used in the artistry community, any form of art, and in businesses as well? People are putting pronouns attached to their name on business cards, cover letters, resumes, etc. Is it safe to say that it's become more of a prominent thing?
Oh, absolutely. I think that one of the things that I've tried to do here, and I'm not the only one, I can't take all the credit for this. A lot of people have worked towards. There's lots of people before me and lots of youth now that are really championing this discussion. But adding your pronouns to your work email has been a really good one. I've seen people that have added a link to resources about pronouns, and so I think there's a lot more awareness than there used to be. And for someone like myself, I've had to go through lots of awkward conversations, lots of times where I've been misgendered very early on, and had to have those conversations and try and navigate that. And now I try and educate people on why that's important and how to add that to their services, so that it doesn't have to be awkward anymore. It can just be an easy first kind of question.
Aiden, you are amazing. Thank you for what you're doing to the community. Kelly, do you have anything to finish off with?
I love the sound of what you're doing up there. It sounded really inclusive, which I love to hear. It's mixing fun and education for your Pride events, as well as bringing in youth. I think that's super important.
Absolutely. Youth and families. Thunder Bay has always been about family pride, and I think that's a big strength, and breaking down a lot of those barriers for next generations of queer people.
Yes. How can we find out more information on your workshops?
Well, currently I'm mostly just on Facebook, and so you can find me on Facebook at Aiden Cavisto Consulting. And I love talking about my transition and my story, but I also really love educating others on gender and sexuality.
Thank you so much, Aiden. And we will be sure to catch up with you when we can, and we find ourselves in Thunder Bay, Ontario.
All right, you're welcome anytime.
Who is Canada's oldest drag queen? Russell Aldred, stage name Michelle Dubarry. Born November 1931, a Canadian drag queen who was awarded the title of World's Oldest Performing Drag Queen in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Let's head on over to Lloydminster, Alberta, where we are going to be speaking with our next two guests, Donna and Jensen. How are you two?
I'm great, thank you. Wonderful. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. My lovely co-host Kelly has joined us. Jensen, let's start with you. Let's introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your identity here in the Pride community and what you represent as for the community in Lloydminster.
My name is Jensen. I go by he, him pronouns. I am the chair of the board of directors of the LGBTQ plus Society of Lloydminster. I am also on the board of our local drag group, Slay the Night Lloydminster. I have been part of the Pride community here in Lloyd's for 5 years now. We had our very first Pride event as a city in 2017, and I've had the honor of being a member of the Pride community and the Pride committee to put on events ever since.
You sound like you have a handful of responsibilities, and no doubt you are representing that community at full force. Thank you so much for everything that you do in Lloydminster. Donna, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you identify as in the Pride community, and what you've been doing for them?
Well, my name is Donna. My pronouns are she, her. I identify as female, and in the Pride community, I am an ally. I am on the board of directors for LGBTQ plus Society of Lloydminster. I am also on the board for Slay the Night Lloydminster, so Jensen and I are quite well connected. And I have had the honor and privilege of being involved in Pride events, I think since 2019. I'm actually not sure. It just always has been feels like it's been a part of my life. So I think it's 2019.
For the two of you, let's talk about allies. Now, we know that in any community, it's extremely important to have support, friends, family on all ends of the spectrum. But let's dive into an ally. Explain to the viewers what an ally is.
Being an ally is much more than just a person that says, I'm okay with this community, or I'm okay with this. It's supporting advocacy, education, standing up for rights and equalities. So for me, that's what an ally is. It's really getting involved, standing up, supporting, and advocating and educating.
Jensen?
Donna's pretty much wrapped it up there. Just to kind of piggyback on that, also for me, being an ally is putting yourself out there as a safe person. That is also, to me, a very important part of being an ally, is that you're not only providing that megaphone for the voices that you're holding up, but also being there to be a safe place, to being sometimes a shield where someone can step behind you and you just kind of stand there and let them have a moment to recollect and get themselves back on their feet again.
Kelly and I were talking about allies earlier. She had mentioned something in regards to the importance, but what do you have? What can you add to that?
It's important to have people around you that you can depend on when you have questions inside yourself about identity or
question that we asked earlier. Can anybody be an ally?
I think anyone has the abilities to be an ally. I think when I first started identifying myself as an ally, I wasn't even really sure what that meant. And so I think taking the steps to become educated, to be willing, like Jensen said, to put myself out there, and be out in the open to be an ally and supporting the community. So I think anyone has the abilities. It's just that comfort level. It's still a process.
Absolutely. I think the other thing you have to keep in mind if you are an ally, this comes for any allyship, no matter where you're at. You have to be a person who's very open to education. You have to be willing to educate yourself. You have to be willing to know that you could have educated yourself, perhaps not as correctly for the times. You have to stay on top of it. Things change, terms change, people's comfort levels, the beat of the city changes. And you also have to kind of be a person who can read the room. You have to be able to read the people that are there. One of the examples that popped into my head when you both were talking about what it means to be an ally, just as an example, is, for example, for the trans community, sometimes we in the trans community do not feel safe to be able to correct someone's pronouns. Maybe we don't feel safe to be able to even go to the bathroom when we're in a public place. To be an ally is someone who is there to be the one to stand up and say, hey, they, them pronouns, he, she pronouns, whatever it is, use the proper name, because sometimes the people within the community just do not have that element of safety. Being able to go and stand in the bathroom while your trans friend is in there using it, to be able to keep them safe while they're in the bathroom. Like, there's a lot of things you have to be able to know you're getting into. So but again, can anyone do it? Absolutely. It's just, you have to be willing to do those sorts of things.
Yeah, so you really have to be like a person seen and a voice heard.
And often it's a gentle voice to, it's just a gentle reminder, if I'm just going to use Jensen as my example. If I'm out with Jensen and misgendered, it's just a simple, my friend Jensen, who goes by him pronouns. Like, it's just a gentle, I'm not calling anyone out on anything. I'm just gently reminding them in case they didn't know, or in case they had something different. So it can be gentle. It doesn't have to be aggressive, but learning those skills and being willing and comfortable to use them.
What resources do you guys have right now for your community in Lloydminster where they can find any sort of workshops or classes or lessons that the community can educate themselves?
Currently, we do have the LGBTQ plus Society of Lloydminster that people can get connected fairly easily, as we do have a Facebook page that's quite active. I think another big push there and education piece has been the Slay the Night, because people can be connected through Slay the Night if they're more on the artistic side, things like that. And then we have other, we can chat with them each ourselves as board members if people need more independent. And then we have sources that we can refer to out in the wider community if we need to as well. So reaching out through those channels are the best start for us here.
Also, for the last few years, we do have a number of people who have volunteered to be able to talk to families. Often what we'll get is people who just want a friendly voice, a safe person to talk to, especially when they have, especially as parents who have a child who's come out. And it is amazing the support those parents want to give, but they want to make sure that they are trying to help their child in the healthiest way, to have their child grow into their authenticity in a healthy way. So even though we are not, the volunteers are not trained, we're good listeners, and a lot of us are parents ourselves, or from the community work, who have worked with youth before. So we can just go on a walk, we can meet up with them, we can go on a play date, and as all our kids are playing together, and just have some adult chat in a safe space. And sometimes that helps more than anything.
I agree. I think safe spaces are extremely important, and just listening and being that soundboard for somebody who is going through whatever they're going through, and we can rely on that person to know that we're not going to be judged, we're not going to be criticized, ridiculed for anything that we're discovering ourselves. And again, especially the youth who are stepping into a community that is growing and being educated with everything that they're doing. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. Kelly and I are extremely excited to know what Lloydminster Pride is going to be doing this year for your festivities.
We have week-long events coming up from the 20th until the 26th of June. And we are doing a bit of a blend. It's mostly virtual again this year due to trying to keep our community safe. We do, though, have an in-person Pride Walk. It's going to be a staggered start, socially distanced, in groups of teams of 10. We already have 14 teams, I believe, signed up for that. So that's going to be absolutely fantastic. That is being our official sponsor of our Pride Walk is Synergy Credit Union this year. We have coloring contests that are on right now. We have costume contests that are on right now. On the 13th, we start our citywide scavenger geocache style Pride hunt around the city. And that'll run until the end of Pride. And then during Pride itself, we have our Pride Walk, we have a painting event, we have a number of different events through both the LGBT Society partnering up with Slay the Night. We have two fantastic queens spilling some tea on the Monday. We have our Drag Story Hour Canada reading bedtime stories for kids, our kids events on Tuesday and Thursday. Wednesday, we have a Netflix watch party of a PG-13 movie for our older youth and families. And then we have another online Kiki event on the Friday between the two organizations. And then Saturday, we have our first in-person drag show since February of 2020. So we're very excited about that because we've been online since then through the YXC Drag Collective. They are doing a Drag Me Across Saskatchewan tour with 12 stops, and Lloydminster is one of them. We'll have 6 of our local performers as well as 1 Monarch in Training performing at our 2 shows for that. That's at the exhibition ground. Get your tickets fast though, because it's a drive-in event and there's only a certain amount of spaces for vehicles. So
That sounds wonderful. So where can people go online to find all of these wonderful events?
if you go www.lloydminsterpride.ca, that's our website where everything that has to do with Pride, all the coloring page downloads, the photo release form for the costume contest, all that can be found on there and accessed, as well as our week of events.
Unreal. That sounds absolutely jam-packed. Sounds like a lot of organizing and a lot of responsibility. But I have no doubt, Jensen, that you'll be able to take care of that with an amazing team, having Donna by your side and the extended members of your community. And I just have to know, is the coloring contest Color the Best Queen?
No, but can I give a spoiler, Donna?
Yes.
I believe Slay the Night is currently working on our very own coloring book, adult coloring book for that has all our performers in it.
Oh, that's very exciting. Well, we'll make sure that we can share that and make sure that we can purchase that if need be. And if the money's going to the community, that's even better.
Well, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you
so
for joining
much.
us. And have a fabulous time in Lloydminster.
1991, the city of Toronto officially endorses the Lesbian and Gay Pride Day in Toronto.
Hi everybody, welcome back. We are going to make our way down to Thompson, Manitoba to view our lovely guest, Dion. Welcome, how are you, my friend?
I'm great, how are you? Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome, thank you for being here. Let's start off a little bit about Thompson, Manitoba and the Pride community and what that means to you to be associated with it, how family comes together, and what it's been like living in that neck of the woods.
So it's been crazy. So Thompson, Manitoba, it's very, very north. It's north of 55. So very small community, but coming out there, like I thought I was gonna have to move because I was scared. You know how the feeling of coming out, like worried that people are gonna leave you, people that aren't gonna support you, but I actually got a lot of support. A lot of support from there. And the Pride community, especially there, like they're growing. It's small right now, but they're growing, and it's nice to see how much everyone's come together and people are actually trying to learn about us and seeing that we're just human beings living our life.
You said human beings living our lives. You know, everybody is normal to whatever the definition of normal is, but we all have a journey, and we all at some point on that journey at a young age, we start to discover ourselves. And you've been on an amazing journey. Tell us how you identify yourself in the Pride community and a little bit of that experience and what you have went through in your self-discovery.
So I'm 25 right now. I came out in 2016. I identify as a transgender, so I'm female to male. So that means I was born female and then I transitioned to male. And I did that in 2016. That's when I finally came to terms with myself, because growing up, I dealt with a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, and I didn't really know why. I didn't really understand why, because I just wanted to be normal like everyone else. I didn't understand why I felt these deep, dark feelings of pain. So in 2016, I finally realized what was going on, and it turns out that I was a male at birth. Like I feel like I was born in the wrong body to a degree, but also I don't regret anything either. I feel like my whole journey to this point where I was able to transition, I feel like that was all needed. I feel like it shaped who I am, what I become. It's helped me be a people person. It's helped me understand other people too. So doing that though, at first it wasn't easy. You know, like at first I tried coming out to my family and it didn't really work out. It didn't work out the way I planned to. So I waited a whole year and I just lived a life as a female for a whole year, and it was really, really tough. But then it got to a point where my mental health was so bad, I didn't know how I was gonna live. How am I supposed to live in this body when I don't like it? Right? I look at myself in the mirror every day and I don't like it. So how am I supposed to live this way? So after a year though, I came out to my family again and they were 100% on board. They had time to think about it. People around me, I came out to 3 people before anyone else, and they were so supportive. We were able to go down to Winnipeg. We went to Fame. It's a gay nightclub in Winnipeg, and it's awesome. It's lit. The best feeling. Any gay bar is the best feeling because you're just there being yourself, and it's all fun and games. So that was nice. And then after that, I think it was 2 weeks after, I decided to come out to the world, and everyone on my social media, they got to see me. They got to start living life with me, I guess. And that's when I went from my birth name to Dion, and everyone's been really, really supportive. I did have a job though where I was definitely harassed all the time, and it was really, really hard. But at the same time, if I didn't work there, I wouldn't have gotten the strength that I've gotten to overcome basically anything, because I'm still here. Despite all the feelings that I felt while going through it, while being harassed, all those things, I'm still here. And leaving that job, I was able to come here to the sound engineering school, do what I'm actually passionate about. And I met the best people here. I can't believe the amazing people I've met here, the people that are here helping put on the show, that are being a part of the band for me, for the song that I made. It's been amazing. It's been such great support.
That's not an easy feat. And you have been courageous, you have been vulnerable, and you have followed your truth. And tell us a bit about the community that has been supporting you. What has that made you feel like?
It makes me feel human, like everyone else, for sure. And then the community in Thompson, amazing, because it really just helped me believe that I'm supposed to be here. Because a lot of us, when we're dealing with those things, especially because we're finally just able to be ourselves to the public. It's been hard to just internalize that. So to have the community that's also feeling these things, whether they're lesbian, bi, trans, anything, it's been amazing because we're all coming together with love and just understanding that we're human beings living and just being great people.
Growing up, and you mentioned struggles with not feeling the way you thought you should.
Right.
Where you are now, what would you say to your younger self going through those struggles?
So to my younger self, I have a lot to say. Time is your best friend. There are people out there, whether it's family, whether it's your friends, sometimes you have to get rid of people. And that's the sad truth, because at the end of the day, you're still a human being, and what matters most is you yourself. So I've lost family, I've lost friends, but it's okay because I've built new friends. And the best part about a digital era is that you can type in any hashtag right now. You can type it in and you will find someone feeling the exact same emotions and feelings that you're feeling. And that's how I started off. That's what I was able to do, because I started an Instagram. I thought I'd document my transition. So I started my T-shots, all that stuff. I'd post it. And it was more so for myself and to help other people learn with me. But at the same time, I met a bunch of other people that from all over the world that feel the exact same way as me. So I know it's hard for people. Sometimes you can't get away. But like I said, most of us have a phone. So if you have a phone, use a hashtag, find people that are feeling the exact same way as you, and you'll understand that you're not the only one out there and that you deserve to be here, and time will be your best friend. I never thought I'd be here right now today, but I gave myself time, and here I am. And I'm happy. I'm really happy.
In 1992, the federal court lifts the ban on gays and lesbians in the military.
Now let's head on over to Dryden, Ontario, with our 2 guests outside in the lovely weather, which I wish we had here in Alberta. Amanda and Kaylee, how are you 2 doing?
Good, pretty good, can't complain.
First, let's talk about Dryden, Ontario. What's the Pride community like there?
It's pretty small here. We are a small town. But we hosted our first ever Pride a few years back. I want to say it was 2017, 28. Years are weird right now. But it actually had a huge turnout. It turned out a lot bigger than we expected. There was a huge parade, and it was wonderful to see.
It's always nice to see the Pride community coming together, and I'm always amazed, as Kelly and I have mentioned a couple times in conversation, just how much support we have that goes unnoticed for individuals that actually really want to be there for our Pride community. Speaking of being there, let's talk about the importance in the etiquette of being an ally in the community and what it means to be an ally.
One thing that I always like to say is that being an ally isn't a noun, it's a verb. And it's not something that you necessarily get to call yourself. It's something that other people will call you based off of your own actions. So supporting the 2S LGBTQ plus community year round is a part of being an ally.
You know, we've been discussing what an ally is with different individuals in different communities across the country all day today, and they've all had the same sort of idea of what an ally is, and being a soundboard and experiencing that, making sure that we can be a listener. And you're absolutely correct, I think, whenever it comes to what that person thinks that you are to them. Kelly, let's talk about the growth in the Pride community.
Yes, I would love to hear about, in the recent years, how Pride has grown in your small community as well as surrounding.
It's definitely growing in popularity for sure. In the past couple years with the whole pandemic thing, with the virtual events, it seems to have died down a little bit, but we're still here and we're still giving it our all, and we're hoping that 2022 will be bigger and better.
For sure, it is hard right now with everything being virtual, but that's great that you're out there and you're being visible.
I agree. I think the awareness and keeping that that connection, if you will, and bringing together the community, whether it be virtual or anything that we have to do. We have to adapt nowadays, right? Just really quickly, what has it been like in a small community to adapt during this pandemic and to ensure that the awareness is still very strong to keep the growth going?
I think it's been a lot of learning about technology. I know that I've attended quite a few webinars, which is something I had never done before. So it's a lot of learning things like Zoom and Google Meet and Teams and all of these platforms. And it's a lot of social media presence, I think. It kind of feels a lot more disconnected than years when we were able to all be together. But we're kind of really just holding out and hoping for better things in 2022.
I love your earrings. Your earrings are absolutely amazing. Kaylee, let me tell you, sporting any sort of pride symbol is always a favorite, and it's very fashionable. So thank you for wearing those today. Ladies, I think we've come to the end of our quick chat here. Kelly and I are going to do what we can in the future to get out there and support you guys from afar or near. Thank you so much, and I hope you have continue enjoying the rest of your sunny day by that lovely little lake out there. Anything else, Kelly?
No, it's been a pleasure to chat with you.
Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Happy Pride, and enjoy the festivities where you are.
In 1996, sexual orientation was added to the Canadian Human Rights Act, which covers federally regulated activities.
We're going to make our way over to Flin Flon, Manitoba, and speak with Jordana. Jordana, how are you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you today?
We are fabulous. Thank you so much for being here and giving us a little bit of your time. Let's talk about Flin Flon and the Pride community that's there. How important is it to you to be a member of that community? What do you identify yourself as, and how the community brings that Pride essence to life?
Whoa, open-ended questions. I love it. So I identify as queer for sure. I don't really have a direct label. I have dated mainly female, but I would consider myself pansexual. It is very important to me to be involved in the queer community here. I grew up here my whole life, and I came out when I was 21 years old. And back then, there was no resources, no groups. I felt really isolated and really alone. And it was really hard to meet people or to just kind of be comfortable with myself. I had to leave town for a couple years. And then when I came back here, I started working a better job and got closer with my family because there was some issues when I came out. And after the Pulse shootings, I decided that I needed to do a vigil here in town just to like gain some sort of knowledge on the LGBTQ community. So I did that, and to my surprise, there was about 75 people that showed up within a 24-hour notice. And I just looked around and I thought, you know what, this is it. This is the time. This is time to wake people up, because small towns kind of have the reputation of kind of being behind the times or not quite as advanced. So yeah, to me, that was like the moment that I just knew. And I was like, you know what, this is next summer, this is going to happen. I'm going to do it. And sure enough, we did it. I formed a committee. And yeah, it's been great. It's been really, really eye-opening and really helpful for me. And I hope for other people as well.
So you've kind of been a bit of a caveat in order to bring the community together in Flin Flon and taking action and putting your best foot forward, not just for yourself as an individual in the LGBTQ2+ community, but also for gathering the community together and to raise awareness for what it is. You guys have some amazing events up there. Kelly, what are we going to talk about?
Yes, well, I would love if you would catch us up on the history of the Trout Festival.
So basically, it's a festival that happens every year around Canada Day, and it's just basically Flin Flon's way of celebrating Canada Day. There was a Queen Mermaid pageant, which was essentially a talent show, beauty pageant type thing. And there's other things, like we do a parade, we bring the community together, we shut down the main street in town and do just a huge market of just vendors, food, amusement rides, everything. It's a lot of fun.
That sounds wonderful. So fabulous. And I've also heard that you also have drive-in drag.
Drive-in drag, yes, that's something new this year. Actually, the talent show beauty contest that I was talking about, the Queen Mermaid pageant, that came to an end in the early 2000s. So that kind of hasn't been around for a long time. So we kind of played with the idea over the past couple years. What if we brought it back as a drag show and did a drag Queen Mermaid? We thought it wouldn't be well received just because of the history of the Queen Mermaid. But we took it to the Trout Festival Committee, and we took it to the city of Flin Flon, and everybody was on board. They're all like, this seems like a really good idea. Like, why not? So in 2019, we did our very first drag show here. This year, being with COVID and everything, we had to do something a little different. So we teamed up with YXC Drag Collective, and they're bringing a drive-in drag show outdoors to town. We're lucky we live on a border town, so Creighton is in Saskatchewan. It's a 2-minute drive. So we're doing the show there, and it'll be outdoor. They're bringing up 6 performers, plus our 2 drag queen mermaids are performing in it, and everybody's so excited.
That is so cool. It's wonderful to see drag bringing community together.
Yes, it's beautiful. It really is. And like, I mean, everybody that I talked to, they're like, who doesn't watch RuPaul? So I think everyone was pretty excited for it.
Girl, you are absolutely amazing. Thank you for being a guest on our show today. And you know what? We're going to do what we can. I'm going to do what I can in order to get up to Flin Flon. Keep enjoying the lovely queer community up there as well. Thank you for everything today.
Happy Pride.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy Pride.
How many different pride flags are there? 22.
We have been traveling across the country, bringing to you guests from afar and near. We are going to be making our way to Thunder Bay with Ashley. Ashley, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
We are fabulous. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time to discuss what the Thunder Bay community is like.
The community is amazing, and that's what keeps me here, to be honest. It's like having a family away from your family. We're a growing community. We are in our 11th year having Pride. There's been other organizations like in the past that have had little shorter runs and stuff like that. But Thunder Pride is 11 years strong. Yeah, it has just been it's been a beautiful thing to watch. I've been here to see Thunder Pride start from a seed and like slowly like blossom into like this beautiful, amazing, like rainbow colored sunflower right now. I really wish I could see people in person, but so does everybody. And we're doing what we can to get through this together. So offering things online. I know it gets boring, but you know what? We'll take it because we love seeing each other. You know what I mean?
We do, and whether it be virtual or that moment when we can get back to each other, close to close, just close to each other and experiencing that energy the way it was before. We've worked so hard virtually to keep connection super strong. Before we head over to Kelly, what are a couple events that are happening with Thunder? Thunder Pride?
Thunder Pride, yeah, correct.
Thunder Pride, great name. Tell us some of the things that are happening in Thunder Pride.
Absolutely. So we have things that are happening outside of the Thunder Pride month, but the Thunder Pride month, we have a very, very, very wonderful buffet of events to choose from that will suit almost anyone's needs. So yeah, we have like an online space for people to hang out, play music, stuff like that, like a Discord space. We have a space for youth and we have a space for adults. The youth space has like bots and like safety mechanisms in place. I'm not the techie one, but we have those things in place for those things. We are doing some new events and also like morphing our old events into being online events, which has been a challenge that we have graciously accepted. And it's been really fun seeing, actually, to be honest, I honestly think that in the future, our events are going to continue to have this hybrid version of being online, because we've been able to reach so many more people in this region where Thunder Bay is very far from a lot of places. It is the one little hub with like nothing for like I think 430 kilometers away is Dryden. The next biggest thing, if you're not quite sure where we are, we're on the northwest shore of Lake Superior. So it's nice to be able to reach out to the other regions and say, hey, we see you. Come to our events. They're online this year. Come on down, And it's been really great growing our community in that capacity.
That's absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, everyone's a neighbor. Come to our events if you want,
Everyone's a neighbor. I like that. Pride. Everyone's a neighbor. And that's one of the great things about virtual experiences, that we are closer than we actually think. Kelly, over to you.
Wonderful. Am I correct in saying that you are two-spirited?
Yes, you are correct.
Yes, wonderful. Would you speak a little bit to us about what two-spirited is and what it means to you as a proud two-spirit person?
Absolutely. Two-spirited means something different to everybody. What it means to me is what it means to me alone. And if you ask someone else that's two-spirited, it'll be different for everybody because everyone's experiences are different, just so everyone's aware. For me, walking in balance is definitely something that I feel like I do and I live and I breathe and is in my blood and it's who I am. And so walking in balance, I would say is like the strongest. If I were to give you a one-liner of what two-spirited really honestly means, it's not a gender. It's something different. It means that I'm also traditional. So I'm Métis. I'm a drum carrier. I'm a hunter. I'm also at times a mother, and at times I walk in both. And so for me, that is the true. For me, that is my true essence of being two-spirited is walking in balance. It is an old concept, but the term is new. And so for a lot of people, it's coming into it is a new thing, or that hearing about it around like traditional circles is sometimes a new thing, and that's okay. It's a growing thing. It's definitely being pollinated throughout the region. I know that there's like two-spirited teachings that are like, I call them like waking up all over the place right now. And it's a beautiful time to be two-spirited. It's awesome. The amount of like pollinating of teachings and sharing of knowledge that's happening around two-spirited stuff right now is just amazing. So if you were to ask somebody else, they might say something different. But for me, that is what two-spirited is for me.
Well, that's wonderful to know. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Ashley.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
I love what you said, Ashley, as an encompassing thing just in general for anybody who identifies as anything, walking in balance and being yourself and being true to yourself and knowing that your self-love is important, your self-worth is where we are best to be radiating from, and I like also what you said, pollinating through the community. We are best to be educated so we can treat others with respect and dignity for what we each deserve. It's been a pleasure to have you on as a guest for the interview today. Thank you so much. Happy Pride from our central region in Alberta. Thank you for joining us today, Ashley. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for being an amazing co-host today. Did you learn something new?
I definitely have, and I've met so many beautiful people today.
It has been an absolute amazing experience bringing to you all this amazing knowledge and education to everyone across Canada. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, Pride, you belong here. Happy Pride, everybody.
Yes, from Thunder Bay, happy Pride. From Thunder Bay, from the northwest shores of Superior, coming at you. Happy Pride from Thunder Pride to everybody all across everywhere where this is being broadcasted. Happy Pride to you and you and you.
LGBTQ+.